So that's what's going on in the polling. But in Ohio, early voting, actual voting, has already begun. And blogger Soren Dayton has been watching it, in fact, fell in with and started talking with some of the early voters who turned out to be some very interesting people. Soren Dayton blogs on the websites sorendayton.com and thenextright.com and joins us on the KTSA Newsmaker line. Soren, good morning. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Very good. I've really enjoyed reading your blog entries over the last couple of days. You're out there talking to these early voters in Ohio. Where in Ohio were you?
Actually, I wasn't in Ohio. I've been in contact with some friends on the ground who are active in the Young Republicans. They've been sending me stuff, and I've been working the phones.
Forgive me for that error in setting that up. Then, so you talked to someone who, in turn, was talking to early voters.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what was he finding out?
Okay. Well, first of all, it's a little complicated what the situation is. People can vote starting this Monday until Election Day in November. And, so that's one issue. Then the next issue is until Friday of this week, people can register to vote. But if you show up, you can do both this week in one location in each county in Ohio. And so what seems to be happening is there's an operation in a bunch of the major metropolitan areas to get people to the polling places. That's totally legit and reasonable. But there's some questions. As one person who was running that program said, you can find a homeless person. They don't know where they're going to be tomorrow. But you can register them to vote where they stayed tonight and vote them. Now, if they come back from another location tomorrow, who knows? Mm-hmm. And, in fact, one of the people my friend talked to was actually in this guy said that he was from Chicago and that he took a bus in to vote in Ohio. And
Chicago, as we should point out, Chicago is not in Ohio.
I grew up in Chicago. That's an 8-hour drive. That's a pretty long drive to vote.
All right. So this guy's really doing his part. He's going from Chicago, where Barack Obama doesn't need his vote, to Ohio, where he does.
And there's a question of, is this organized? Who's paying for it? Because that's clearly illegal. Right? I mean, if that's happening, and that's happening on a regular basis, that's probably election fraud. And if there's a lot of it, there's probably a conspiracy there. And that's a problem. That's something we need to figure out.
Now, Soren, I had never heard of the idea of simultaneously registering and voting. Is that unique to Ohio, or is that new in Ohio this election year?
No, a number of states have what's called same-day registration. It's very common in Wisconsin, and there have been some real issues. It's also common it's also done in North Dakota, where there have also been some issues on, in some communities, shall we say. But in 2004, in Wisconsin, there was just an indictment just passed down yesterday. It was reported in one of the Wisconsin papers about precisely this thing. And in 2004, the Milwaukee Police Department issued a study with some pretty clear evidence that people were shall we say, violating the spirit of the same-day registration laws and, voting in a couple of locations.
I guess I'm just, like you, I'm wondering if this is an organized thing, and I'm also wondering, how reliable your friend or your source thinks these people are that he talked to, because if you are, in fact, trying to pull a fast one, rule number one would be don't brag about it.
Well, I'm not sure the person who you can even see on the video, I'm not sure that person necessarily knew everything that was going on. Or if this is a large organized effort, I'm not sure this person has the facts. And it's not clear to me who you'd have to find to get that information. But this is a real issue. Yeah. And there's another part of this, which is in every other election in Ohio, each party gets to send in their own election observers to sort of police what's going on inside the polling station. And the Democratic Secretary of State has said that election observers should be, that it's okay to turn away election observers. So in two of the biggest counties, Franklin County and Montgomery County, that's Columbus and Dayton, the towns of Columbus and Dayton, Republican election observers are getting turned away. And in 2006, Columbus had a congressional race that came down to like 1,000 votes, and it was the last congressional race that was counted and declared a winner in. And it's going to be even closer this year, and we have this going on.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like they're not only importing voters from Chicago, they're importing the whole political tactics of Chicago. So apparently a lot more than that guy came over on the bus. All right, Soren Dayton, tell me, this website, The Next Right, is this new?
We started it in May. It was three of us who'd been involved in presidential campaigns, and we have some concern about where the Republican Party is going, number one, and number two, we wanted to make sure that people were finding out about new technologies. You know, in 2004, if people knew this was happening, we didn't have YouTube. It would have been a lot harder to show people what was happening on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, that's a real difference. And I don't think all the Republicans or all the Democrats understand how to use this new technology to shine light on some of the things that happen in our process.
Soren, I appreciate the time. I hope we can talk again, and thanks for filling us in on it.
Thank you.
All right, Soren Dayton, 5